100-kilogram gold coin, size of a car tire, worth $4 million. 3 guys with a ladder and a wheelbarrow roll it out of one of Berlin's most secure museums in 16 minutes. Not a single alarm goes off. They drop it twice, getting away. Gold dust everywhere. Nobody stops them. The coin vanishes. Forever. How does something that weighs as much as a refrigerator just disappear? Who moves museum-grade gold with hardware store tools? What kind of security lets thieves push 220 pounds of pure metal across train tracks at 3 in the morning? This is the story of the crudest heist that worked. Another has an odd walk. Limp, or maybe something hidden in his pants. They know the trains don't run between 1:30 and 4. The platform is empty. They walk to the end. There's an old overpass foundation, remains of a bridge that once connected the Bode Museum to the Pergamon Museum across the tracks. Historical photographs show it. The structure is long gone, but the access point remains. 10 days earlier, on March 17th, 2 of them surveilled the route. 6 days before the heist, on March 21st, all 3 returned. That second visit, they climbed to the window, tried to remove the security glass installed in 2005, destroyed one of the bolts, glass dislodged but held by remaining bolts. No video surveillance on that section. No one noticed the damage for 6 days. They knew exactly what they wanted. Someone tipped them off. Maybe a man who'd been working at the Bode Museum for just weeks. Security guard, subcontractor. Somehow they learned about the treasure on the 3rd floor. Purity of 99.999%, 5 nines pure. Queen Elizabeth II on one side from Susanna Blunt's design. Maple leaf on reverse by Stan Whitten. Face value 1 million Canadian dollars. Actual gold value at March 2017 prices, 4 million euros. Displayed in bulletproof glass vitrine. On loan from a real estate mogul in Dusseldorf named Boris Fuchsmann. He'd bought it at auction in Vienna. Only 1 bid. 5 such coins were minted. 1 stayed at the Royal Canadian Mint. 5 went to market. The Bode Museum wanted it to attract visitors who don't usually come to numismatic collections. They walk 150 meters through the building, straight to the permanent exhibition. No wandering, no mistakes. They know the route. Carbon-reinforced axe smashes the bulletproof case with brutal force. The coin is freed, but it weighs 220 pounds. 2 men minimum needed to lift it. They use rope, lower it out the window onto the elevated train tracks. 3 to 4 meter drop. Gold is soft. The impact leaves traces. Police later find marks beneath the window, dent in the railway bed. Documents in the Smithsonian Magazine's February 2024 comprehensive coverage, based on court transcripts and prosecutor statements. Now back to the information. Across the Spree River on the elevated line, the wheelbarrow is crude, basic, hardware store grade. But it moves 220 pounds of gold without sophisticated equipment. No hydraulics, no special machinery. Just a wheelbarrow someone can buy anywhere. More damage. More gold traces left behind. A car waits in the park. Mercedes. They load the coin into the trunk, drive away at 3:52 a.m. Security camera at nearby construction site catches the vehicle on pedestrian walkway along the Spree. Driver keeps headlights off. Distance too far for details. No eyewitnesses, no other cameras. Bloodhounds brought in later can't find a scent. The coin is gone. Security guard completes his rounds. Goes to reactivate the alarm system. Error message. Some doors on 3rd floor not properly closed. He'd just been assigned to the Bode Museum. Previously worked at other sites in the Stiftung Preußischer Kulturbesitz Museum Collective. He calls Central Security. Makes another round. Discovers plastic wedges blocking the doors. 4:33 a.m., 2 additional guards arrive. They search together. Finally, someone sees the smashed vitrine. Doesn't understand the magnitude until reading the plaque. Text emphasizes the weight. 100 kilograms. 5:28 a.m., emergency call goes to police. The rope in Montbijou Park. Gold fragments where the coin was dropped twice, but no thieves, no coin. The alarm system never triggered, something the Bode Museum came under huge pressure to explain. How do 3 men spend 16 minutes inside, smash bulletproof glass, move a 100-kilogram object through 150 meters of corridors, lower it out a window, and leave without setting off a single alarm? 50 telephone surveillance operations, more than 30 house searches, mobile phone site analysis, GPS devices tracking cars, sniffer dogs, a special commission formed. But evidence is scarce at first, then patterns emerge. 3 black-clad figures on security footage from days before the theft, walking the escape route, testing the path. Their measurements match. In one frame, a rare Armani jacket visible. 3.5 months after the heist, police execute raids across Berlin. 300 officers, multiple addresses in Neukölln district. The target, properties connected to the Remo family, Lebanese Kurdish origins, part of the Malami ethnic group originally from Anatolia. They emigrated to Lebanon in the 1930s for economic reasons, accepted only as stateless people, lived on society's margins. During the Lebanese Civil War, from 1975 to 1990, parts of the family fled to East Germany, settled in Berlin, extended network of 13 families. between 500 and 1,000 members according to 2020 German authority estimates. Known to police for organized crime, extortion, robberies, drug trafficking, money laundering, arms dealing, murder. Two cousins, Ahmed Remo and Wissam Remo, ages 18 and 20 at the time of the crime. A third cousin, Weishi Remo, age 23. And Dennis W., age 20, the security guard, childhood friend of the Remos. He'd been hired at the Bode Museum earlier that March, weeks before the heist. Inside man. Gloves, containing glass shards matching the museum window. His phone reveals searches for gold prices, equipment for melting gold. News updates on the heist. Camera roll has screenshots of Google Maps showing the getaway route. Ahmed Remo's fingerprints found on paper listing gold prices. Dennis W. seen shopping for luxury cars and jewelry shortly after the heist. A 10,000 euro gold chain purchased. Mercedes-Benz dealerships visited. Major purchases for someone working security on a subcontractor's wage. Gold leaf particles still recovered from the upholstery. Blood evidence at one scene. DNA matches. The case builds piece by piece. The 5/9's pure signature of the Royal Canadian Mint diluted into generic bullion. 4 million euros in gold broken into smaller bars, sold through black market channels, each piece worth less individually, but together moving faster, harder to track. The big maple leaf, as an intact coin, ceased to exist probably within days of the theft, maybe hours. Because Ahmed and Wissam were 18 and 20 at the time, tried as juveniles, reduces potential sentences. The four defendants deny everything. Defense lawyer Toralf Nuding argues no firm evidence exists, claims media coverage of the Remo family prejudiced the case, says reports linking his clients to organized crime prevented fair trial. Dennis W.'s lawyer, Marcel Kells, denies reports about major purchases, says the gold chain and car shopping stories are fabricated. Planning involved, inside assistance, use of tools and reconnaissance. Cannot identify him definitively in security footage as the third thief. Both prosecution and defense given 1 week to appeal. Additional financial penalty. Ahmed and Wissam ordered to pay 3.3 million euros, the estimated coin value. Money they don't have, money likely already spent or hidden, 840,000 euros. Their argument? Serious security deficiencies at the museum, negligence contributed to the loss. Fuchsman is not pleased, takes legal action, wants the full 4.2 million euro payout. Berlin Regional Court sides with insurance company in 2020. Fuchsman appeals. May 26th, 2021, he achieves partial victory. Higher court rules museum security was indeed deficient. Orders insurance to pay 50% total, 2.1 million euros. Still half his loss. He tells Süddeutsche Zeitung, "I'm caught between two stools because neither the museum nor the insurance company are willing to change their position. I would prefer it if they sorted things out on their own, because I have the least responsibility for all this. My coin is gone. Why was the vulnerable window section not under video surveillance? Why could the security glass be partially removed 6 days before without detection? Why did a train conductor's report of a wheelbarrow on the tracks not trigger investigation? How did inside information reach the thieves? Raiders opened dozens of security deposit boxes, escaped with jewelry and cash. To cover tracks, they blew up the bank, ground floor of an apartment block. Tufik Remo identified from blood at scene, injured during escape, jailed 2015. Estimated haul, 10 million euros. November 2019. Green Vault Museum in Dresden, one of Europe's greatest treasure collections, priceless 18th century jewels stolen, diamond rose sets, Polish white eagle order pieces. Estimated value, 1 billion euros. More than 1,600 officers raided 20 Berlin addresses in November 2020. Armed commando units, 10 Remo family apartments, garages, cafe, storerooms. 3 arrested. Twins Mohammed and Abdulmajid Remo still wanted at time of raids. DNA from crime scene led to family. Later trials in 2023. 5 family members convicted. Sentences between 4 and 6 years. Many treasures recovered through plea deal in December 2022, but some still missing. Claims wealth from construction and restaurants. New anti-money laundering law passed 2017 enables the seizures. Asset recovery becomes priority. Berlin Police Union head Sebastian Fiedler tells Die Welt, without doubt, clan criminality in all its facets is a prime example of completely failed integration. The extended families produce hardened criminals with total disregard for the rule of law who don't accept the state under which they live. Everything. I can tell you that does not correspond to reality. There is no central leadership. There is no firm structure. He says conflicts within families can turn violent, that families migrated to Germany in the 1980s but splintered since, that many want crime tackled but feel under general suspicion, that delinquent youth sometimes fall into criminality despite family efforts to stop them. About 4% of Berlin's population has Arab background. Estimated 582 clan criminals in Berlin include 87 Lebanese nationals, 52 German-Lebanese dual citizens, smaller numbers of Turkish and Syrian nationals. Majority are German citizens. Yet it successfully moved 100 kilograms of gold across train tracks, over the Spree River, down to a waiting car. The simplicity mocks the elaborate security, bulletproof glass, alarm systems, professional guards, Museum Island location, all defeated by a ladder, a rope, an axe, and a wheelbarrow. Total equipment cost maybe a few €100, haul worth $4 million. Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, Boston, 1990. Thieves disguised as police. 81 minutes inside. 13 works including Rembrandt's Storm on the Sea of Galilee and Vermeer's The Concert. Estimated value $500 million. Never recovered. Empty frames still hang in the museum, but at least those thieves used disguises and a credible cover story. The Bode Museum thieves just climbed in a window and pushed their loot away in a wheelbarrow. Green Vault, Dresden 2019 used fire to disable alarm sensors. Smashed display cases in minutes, but the Bode heist didn't even need to disable alarms. They simply didn't go off. Wheelbarrow? Duct tape? These are your tools of the trade for thieves. It's a lot easier than breaking into a Las Vegas casino or a bank. Museums just don't have a budget to accommodate state-of-the-art security systems. The most high-tech tool museum thieves typically use is a water-cooled drill for thick glass. Everything else, old-school hardware. Royal Canadian Mint spent years developing 99.999% purity gold production. A breakthrough achieved 2007. They wanted to showcase the capability, make a statement about Canadian minting excellence. Design team created the largest, purest gold coin ever made at that time. Used specialized hydraulic presses at Ottawa facility. Each coin required meticulous craftsmanship. Multiple casts, poured, scrapped, melted, repoured. Became employee tradition to watch the pouring and removal from mold. May 2007 they succeeded. One side, Queen Elizabeth II, in Susanna Blunt's portrait showing the monarch in maturing dignity without crown or tiara. Other side, stylized maple leaf by Stan Whitten. Diameter 50 centimeters, thickness 2.8 centimeters, weight 100 kilograms. Worth millions just in gold content. Face value 1 million Canadian dollars. Guinness World Records certified it as largest and purest gold coin. Then Bode Museum, Berlin in 2010, 7 years on display. Tourists photographed it, students studied it, numismatists admired it, symbol of minting achievement. Then March 27th, 2017, 16 minutes. Ladder, wheelbarrow, rope, gone. The thieves melted it down for $4 million in gold. If they'd kept it intact until 2025, they'd have $12 million. But keeping it intact means keeping the most identifiable stolen coin in recent history. Impossible to sell, impossible to display, just a very expensive paperweight. Better to melt it despite the loss. $4 million in untraceable gold bars beats $12 million you can never touch. Other 4 big maple leafs remain in existence. One at Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa behind maximum security. The others in private hands, locations undisclosed. After the Berlin theft, owners of the remaining coins got very quiet about their possessions. No public displays, no museum loans, too much risk. The Australian Perth Mint struck a 1-ton gold coin in 2011. 1,000 kilograms, 80 centimeters diameter, 12 centimeters thick, called Gold Kangaroo or Gold Nugget. That one beat the big maple leaf size record. But it lives at the Perth Mint, not loaned out. Too big to steal anyway. Would need a forklift and a truck. Mission accomplished. Just not the way the museum hoped. Bernard Weiser, director of the numismatic collection, called it an absolute catastrophe for the museum, an absolute catastrophe for us all. Insurance covered the loss partially, but the embarrassment total. Museum Island is Berlin's crown jewel cultural complex, UNESCO World Heritage Site, located on Spree Island in Middleborough. 5 museums total. Altes Museum, Neues Museum, Alte Nationalgalerie, Bode Museum, Pergamon Museum, collectively hold treasures spanning 6,000 years. The Bode Museum opened 1904, designed by Ernst von Ine, originally called Kaiser Friedrich Museum, renamed for its first curator Wilhelm von Bode in 1956. 3 floors, multiple collections, Byzantine art, sculptures, numismatics. Security upgraded after 2005. But clearly not enough. Police recorded almost 1,000 clan crime offenses in Berlin during 2022. Money laundering, violence, property damage, theft, fraud. The Remo convictions over the big Maple Leaf and Green Vault heists sent messages, but researcher Jaraba worries the plea deals send wrong message. Thinks criminals see them as, we can do what we want without consequences. Points to Green Vault defendants getting reduced sentences for returning some stolen items, walking free pending appeals, says it emboldens other criminal groups. Employment prospects limited with a conviction for betraying employer trust. Ahmed and Wissam Remo served their time. Juvenile sentencing means shorter terms than adult court would impose, both likely released by now or soon. Rehabilitation programs required. But family connections remain, clan structure persists, Criminal elements continue operating despite prosecutions. New generations grow up in the same environment, same pressures, same opportunities in illegal economies. The simplicity exposes systematic weaknesses in cultural security. Budget constraints, aging infrastructure, over-reliance on alarms that can fail or be circumvented, under surveillance of access points assumed secure, staff from subcontractors not fully vetted. The human element, a 20-year-old security guard hired weeks before he helps rob the place he's paid to protect. More cameras, better monitoring, reinforced windows, changed subcontractor vetting procedures, limited access to sensitive areas, enhanced alarm redundancy. But every upgrade costs money. Cultural institutions operate on tight budgets, balance security against accessibility. Museums exist to share treasures with public. Fortress security defeats the purpose. But light security invites theft. The calculation shifts after high-profile losses. Insurance premiums rise. Loans become harder to arrange. Private collectors less willing to trust museums. The Big Maple Leaf theft rippled through the entire numismatic and museum community, changed lending practices, changed security standards, changed conversations about balancing access and protection. Could have been lying around for years. Maybe the thieves found it abandoned on the tracks like the train conductor assumed his colleagues had left it. Free tool for a €4 million job. Can't trace what was never specially acquired. The rope, also generic. Hardware store variety. Same with the ladder. Aluminum extension ladder. Thousands sold every year. No serial numbers tracked. No purchase records that lead anywhere. The axe carbon reinforced. Better than standard, but still commercially available. Even the getaway car was ordinary enough. Mercedes is common in Berlin. Dark-colored sedan, seen from distance with no lights. No license plate clearly visible. Just another car. Could be anyone. The sophistication was in the planning and inside information, not the tools. Guard rotation schedules, alarm system details, window vulnerabilities, coin location, display case construction, best approach route, optimal timing between train service gaps and guard rounds. Without that knowledge, the heist likely fails. With it, 16 minutes suffices. The insider threat remains hardest to defend against. Background checks can't predict who will accept criminal offers. Cameras don't prevent guards from sharing information. Alarm systems don't work if guards reveal their patterns. Trust becomes security weakness when exploited. When legitimate paths prove difficult, illegal ones become tempting. First generation dealt drugs, committed theft, learned the system. Second generation grew up knowing both the criminal methods and the legal loopholes. Better lawyers, more sophisticated operations, bigger targets. Museum heists instead of street crime. Bank robberies instead of burglaries. Organized networks instead of solo acts. But also more police attention. More prosecution resources, more political pressure to crack down. The escalation cycle continues. 100-kilogram weight required specialized hydraulic presses. The coin was art object, national monument, technical showcase, investment asset all at once. Melting it destroyed all values except material gold, like burning a Rembrandt for heating fuel. Technically works but destroys irreplaceable worth. The thieves saw only $4 million in gold, missed the numismatic value, the historical significance, the craftsmanship. Not that keeping those values intact would have made the coin sellable. Stolen artifacts can't be sold legally, but melting the coin reduced a monument to molten metal. The Royal Canadian Mint could make another 100-kilogram coin. They could pour it, strike it, finish it with 5/9 purity, but it wouldn't be the same coin, wouldn't be one of the original 5, wouldn't carry the history. The Berlin coin was unique. Now it's gone forever, converted into anonymous gold bars somewhere in the black market. Maybe experience level was insufficient. The regular guard who'd done first shift that night had logged rounds at 18:55 and 2300 hours. Uneventful. Third round would have been around 3 or 4 a.m. Perfect timing for the thieves who finished and left by 3:52. 16-minute window between guards' second round completion and normal third round start. Timing, not coincidental. Dennis W. knew the schedule. Years later, the gold remains in circulation somewhere. Maybe smuggled abroad. Maybe still in Germany melted and recast multiple times. Maybe sold to buyers who don't ask questions. Gold is fungible. Pure gold looks the same regardless of source. No fingerprints, no DNA, no serial numbers. Purity can be tested, but source cannot be determined from chemistry alone. The 5/9's signature could be diluted to 4/9 or lower. Changes, characteristics, masks, origin. 100 kilograms becomes many smaller bars. Those bars become jewelry, become dental applications, become electronics, become other coins. The atoms that were Big Maple Leaf scatter into global gold supply, untraceable, irretrievable. These stories need accurate telling based on court records, police reports, and investigative journalism, not Hollywood speculation. Proves some clan members valued keeping intact treasures over melting them. Proves leverage in negotiations works, but also proves the family's reach. Proves their ability to hide massive hauls. Proves standard investigations fail to penetrate their networks without insider cooperation. The Big Maple Leaf never got the same plea deal recovery. Maybe because it was already melted. Maybe because it was moved abroad. Maybe because whoever has it or had it values money over reduced sentences. The 77 property seizure in 2018 showed commitment to financial pressure. Clans operate partly on reputation and visible wealth. Take the villas, the luxury cars, the status symbols, damage the reputation, reduce appeal of criminal lifestyle. At least that's the theory. In practice, convictions continue. New members join, operations adapt. The cat and mouse game continues. Audits of window access, reviews of subcontractor vetting, alarm system redundancy checks, surveillance gap analysis, guard rotation randomization, insider threat protocols. But budgets remain tight. Cultural institutions compete for funding with schools, hospitals, infrastructure. Security upgrades expensive. Comprehensive protection of entire collections nearly impossible. Priorities must be set. Highest value or most significant items get best protection. The Big Maple Leaf seemed well protected. Bulletproof glass, alarm systems, guards, Museum Island location near government buildings. Yet 16 minutes with basic tools sufficed for theft. The lesson: no security is perfect. Every system has vulnerabilities. Sufficient planning, inside information, and crude determination can overcome impressive defenses. The Wheelbarrow proves that sophistication isn't always necessary. Sometimes simple tools and bold timing win. His name associated with important numismatic piece. Tax benefits potentially, then gone. Insurance battle consumed years. Legal fees mounted. Final recovery 50% of insured value. 2.1 million euros for a coin worth over 4 million when stolen. Now worth over 12 million if it still existed intact. The mathematics of loss extend beyond missing gold. Time costs, legal costs, stress costs, lost investment opportunity costs. If he'd kept it in a vault, it might still exist. Might be worth 12 million now. Instead, he has 2.1 million insurance payout after years of fighting. That's the real victim impact the crime statistics don't capture. Perfect crime window. The thieves, or whoever planned the operation, understood Berlin's rhythms, knew when the S-Bahn stops, knew when trains restart, knew security round timing, knew police patterns. Either extensive surveillance or inside information provided that knowledge. Probably both. The reconnaissance trips visible on security cameras show surveillance. Dennis W.'s employment provides insider access. Combined, they create the complete picture needed for successful execution. Amateur execution of professional planning. The coin survived both drops functionally. Gold is soft, but the coin's thickness provided structural integrity. Surface damage certain. Dents and scratches, but not shattered or broken apart. Still movable. Still valuable. The drops left forensic evidence, though. Gold particles at impact points. Marks in the railway bed. These traces confirmed the route and method. Helped police understand the escape path. Didn't help recover the coin, but validated the investigation's theory of the crime. The clan's seized properties suggest successful money laundering historically. Buying real estate with cash, building businesses as fronts, mixing legal and illegal income streams. Professional money laundering services exist. Pay a percentage. Get clean money back. 4 million in dirty gold becomes maybe 2 or 3 million in clean euros after fees and cuts. Still massive profit for 16 minutes of work and basic tools. The arithmetic of crime when success rate meets inadequate security. Case essentially closed. Only the gold particles and evidence lockers remain. Physical proof of what was lost. Chemical signatures of 5 nines pure Canadian gold. Fragments of a monument. Dust from destroyed history. Each visit bringing them closer. Testing approaches. Timing guard movements. Measuring distances. The latter, found on scene, was standard aluminum extension type. No manufacturer markings traced to specific retailer. Could have been purchased anywhere in Berlin or Germany. Could have been stolen from construction site months earlier. Could have belonged to someone's garage for years. Impossible to track. Same with the wheelbarrow. Same with the rope. Same with the basic tools. Only specialized item was carbon-reinforced axe, even that available from industrial suppliers. No purchase records led anywhere useful. GPS tracking showed vehicles moving between Neukölln district and Museum Island area. Routes consistent with reconnaissance, but proving reconnaissance happened versus coincidental travel proved difficult. Defense argued clients had legitimate reasons to be in central Berlin, worked there, shopped there, visited friends there, innocent explanations for everything until the physical evidence linked them directly. That physical evidence became prosecution's foundation. Armani jacket was rare enough, not mass market item, limited distribution. Wissam owned it, appeared in security footage. Connect established, gloves with glass matching museum window. DNA on gloves matches Wissam, another connection. Gold particles scientifically analyzed. Purity levels matched Big Maple Leaf exactly, 5 nines. Pure gold doesn't appear commonly. Finding it on multiple suspects and in vehicles creates overwhelming probability. Defense couldn't explain away simultaneous presence of big maple leaf gold particles on separate individuals and vehicles, unless they were all involved. Combined with other evidence, it suggested planning and price calculation, knowing what the gold was worth, calculating potential profit. Someone did the math before the heist. Someone figured 4 million euros in gold justified the risk. That someone left fingerprints on the calculation. 1,800 euros per month approximately. Yet within weeks of the heist, he purchased 10,000 euro gold chain, visited Mercedes dealerships asking about 60,000 euro vehicles, looked at properties worth hundreds of thousands. His lawyer claimed family helped him, claimed inheritance, claimed legitimate windfall. Prosecutors noted timing, noted absence of documentation for claimed inheritance. Noted that family members couldn't explain where their supposed gift money originated. The 100,000 euro fine represented prosecutors' calculation of payment received, based on clan's typical rates for inside assistance, based on value of information provided, based on risk undertaken, seemed accurate amount for betraying employer to enable 4 million euro theft. The museum's insurance battle illustrated complex liability in cultural institution thefts. Policy covered 4.2 million euros. Standard practice for high-value loans. But insurance companies investigate before paying. Their engineers study the security, found the window section lacking camera coverage, found the alarm system's failure to trigger suspicious, found the security glass partially defeated 6 days before without detection problematic, found the subcontractor vetting process insufficient, found guard training inadequate, found response protocols weak. Each finding built the negligence case. Each finding reduced insurance companies' liability. 20% payout meant insurance accepted minor responsibility. 80% denial meant they blamed museum security failures. Museum sued. Berlin courts agreed negligence occurred but split fault. Museum 50% liable. Insurance 50% liable. 2.1 million euro payout represented that split. Boris Fuchsman caught in middle. Lost coin. Lost full insurance recovery. Lost years to legal battle. His comment about being caught between two stools captured victims' frustration perfectly. 5 coins was complete. Marketing purpose served. Technical capability demonstrated. Guinness record achieved. Then Berlin theft ended plans. Too much risk. The remaining 4 coins remained secured. No public displays planned. No museum loans considered. The theft ended the Big Maple Leaf's public life worldwide. Insurance premiums would be prohibitive. Security requirements extreme. The Wheelbarrow heist changed the calculus permanently. Other museums reviewed vulnerabilities after Berlin. Smithsonian requested security failure details. British Museum examined access issues. The Louvre assessed subcontractor vetting. Every major institution holding precious metal collections conducted security audits. Training materials updated worldwide. But budgets remain limited. Compromise between security and accessibility continues. The Remo family's operations demonstrate organized crime resilience. Jail time doesn't collapse networks. Others step up. Better operational security next time. Different targets maybe. The ecosystem sustains despite law enforcement pressure. 77 property seizures hurt financially but didn't destroy the clan's wealth base. Hidden assets remain, complex networks survive. Not even artifacts plural. One artifact. But worth millions. The wheelbarrow itself worthless. Maybe 50 euros. Maybe found abandoned. Maybe borrowed. Maybe stolen from a construction site. But it worked. Moved 220 pounds of gold 80 meters along train tracks. Over a bridge. Through Berlin darkness. To a waiting car. Then disappeared into history like the coin itself. No tracking the wheelbarrow's fate. Was it left in the park? Thrown in the spree? Returned to wherever it came from? The evidence photos show it on the tracks. Standard construction wheelbarrow. Orange or red. Metal frame. Rubber tire. Rectangular pan. Exactly what you'd see at any building site. Exactly what guards would ignore if they saw it. Exactly what makes the heist so audacious. Hardware store tools. Museum gold. 16 minutes. Gone forever. And somewhere in the world, those gold atoms exist. Reformed. Reshaped. Recycled. Anonymous. The Big Maple Leaf survives only in photographs and memory and particles locked in evidence bags. The wheelbarrow that carried it achieved more than its designers ever imagined.